Hello everybody, and welcome to Trip Report 9 from Washington DC to Providenciales in the Turks and Caicos Islands on the Mad Dogs. MD-90 for the first leg from DCA to Atlanta, and MD-88 for Atlanta to Providenciales in Turks and Caicos. This trip takes place roughly on the 20th of December. This first flight here takes place at roughly 6 o'clock in the morning, so definitely an early morning for this one. Of course, the earliest flight that you're going to take out of an airport is always going to be the one that's on time, so generally, you have to pay a little bit more to get that first flight out for the day, and you have to do a little bit of suffering because you're not going to be getting generally your full complement of a night's sleep. But you will at least know for certain that plane is going to be the one most likely all day to take off on time. This is just the Washington Reagan terminal. Pretty small as far as terminal space, but well maintained. It is the airport that Congressmen and other DC representatives use to fly out, so of course it's always well maintained. I'm looking at seat 30B for the plane today, and we're going to be using the MD-90, which is the last version of the MD series. It started off with the MD-80s and kept progressing. We'll use one of the earlier variations for the second in the MD-88. But overall, the MDs, you're going to start to see these. These have been phasing out of service over the past few years. They should disappear completely in the next couple of years. Here, just going down the aisle, a little bit of a newer kind of interior. Taking a look out the window here, there's a pretty good wing shot, and also looking at the seat, so pretty much good up and down. That's a tray table. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use it or not. Depends if I'm awake or if I need coffee. Your typical mid-seat propaganda, little safety brochure, magazine, and a little bit extra. Of course, looking at foot room, pretty typical room for an airline seat. Of course, I have my bag in between my legs, but overall, nothing really bad, as you can see. Got the footrest there, but still felt pretty comfortable. You get your in-flight snack, had a cup of coffee and a small Delta cookie there about halfway into your flight. Taking a look out the window, this is just kind of a shot of the sunrise in the morning as we were flying south. The flight in and of itself was about an hour and 35 hours, 40 minutes. Taking a look at Atlanta International Airport, as far as getting between terminals, it's pretty easy because we're going to be going from one of the closest terminals. I believe it's the B terminal, all the way out to the international terminal there. And you can see the line running down the middle, which represents the train in between the terminals, which usually moves pretty rapidly, so connections are never really a problem at all. This is a shot of me getting out of the airplane and out into the airport. Atlanta, as it's designed, is primarily used to move people around efficiently. There isn't, in a lot of the terminals, there isn't a whole lot of space in between retail and the gates and everything else, so it's primarily designed to move people efficiently, and sometimes things can get, depending on what terminal you use, pretty crammed. So really great at moving people around, but really not so much in the personal space aspect. This here is the airport train system. It transported me from pretty much the second to last terminal all the way up to one of the furthest terminals away. So pretty much about 5 terminals, and it transported me there in about roughly from getting on to getting off about 8 to 10 minutes. So if you have a tight connection in Atlanta, you're not going to have a lot of problem making it. So it's one of the most efficient transport systems, just based on the everything else, that I've seen in other airports. So Atlanta definitely very able to make like a 30, 45-minute connection. This year's the international terminal. It was built in 2012. Like that, it was looked pretty well maintained. There was a limited number of food options, and of course, all the shopping was pretty much high end. If you were looking for like something small and something fast that you can get, you're probably going to want to look at one of the other terminals before you get to the international terminal, because usually the ranges, it's a little bit not a lot of breakfast options there. So pretty much, some of the other stuff you might be able to find in the terminals if you're looking for something to eat. This year is just another look at the plane we're taking, the MD-88 out to Providenciales. It was about 20 minutes late getting in from its last flight, so this flight will be taking off a little late. Hopefully we'll make up that time in the air. We're going to be looking at a 32E, so it's going to be a two-seater on the right side of the plane. It's originally has a setting up so there's 2 seats on one side, 3 seats on the other. So if you're traveling with somebody and you can seat map it out ahead of time, you can make sure that you're not having to deal with a third person in the seat that might cause some sort of discomfort or something like that.
Welcome aboard.
Looking out the window on this flight, another great wing shot. Now looking back at the seat, pretty much the same seat as the flight before. There's your triple tray table. No cup holder this time. Once again, probably won't really need it. Your typical in-seat propaganda, and of course, all that stuff you need to stay safe. As far as foot space, pretty adequate. It's only going to be about 2.5 hour flight, so for that long and flying to paradise, you can stand generally anything. Taking a look at the restroom, it's pretty tight quarters in here. Not a lot of space to barely enough space to turn around. You got your sink, your soap, and of course your toilet, along with the assorted paper and receptacles that you need. But not a lot of space, so if you have to do any changing, it's going to be difficult. overall, looking at the total flight connection time in Atlanta was adequate. We had about an hour and 40 minutes, but in general, you can probably make a connection in Atlanta in about 30. Food was pay on board, so of course I don't really like doing it all that much. I normally just bring in from the airport. Drink snacks once per flight, pretty standard. Seat comfort was about a 7 out of 10. You're pretty normal domestic level seating on the plane, so you know, for a guy that's 5'8", 190, it was pretty normal. Overall, as far as service goes, I still think Delta has a little bit better offering than American on Caribbean service. I hope you enjoyed the trip report, and keep watching the channel as I post more. Thank you very much.